Hey, welcome to another episode of Commerce Rewired. I'm Chris Parsons. The good-looking guy is Johnny Russo. Hey, Johnny, we've been talking about what we're going to talk about for the last few days now on this podcast, and you brought up a great topic that's just relatively recent, and that's the numbers of the unemployment rate and some of the specific areas of retail, which we're heavily involved in. 18,000 people have lost their jobs in retail is the numbers over the last month. Wanted to have a conversation with you about it. Also, conversation to anyone listening, and that is really us being able to talk about we've been there through this ourselves, and some of the best practices, thoughts about it, and just make people feel maybe a little bit more comfortable, even though it might be fresh and feel like salt in the wound. It's definitely a topic that we should.
Yeah, and hi Chris, hi everybody. It's not a light topic, that's for sure. When it impacts people's employment and people's livelihoods, I will say, and you feel it too, as you get older in life and career and whatever stage you're at, there's also purpose to that, and I would say, I've had some people reach out to me that have lost their jobs in the last couple of months and so on, and I get a real joy in helping them in any way I can, whether it's connecting them with another employer that I know is looking, whether it's networking them or putting them in front of other people at an event or introducing them to people that they want to be introduced to. So yeah, if there's any way we can help and you're listening, would love to. But yeah, we'll dive into some of these topics now.
I think that's a great point. One of the things you and I organized last year, we take advantage of networking events such as ETAIL, and we got a group together on the night before ETAIL, and it was about 20 people. And this year, I think it's closing in on 40 people getting together
Yeah.
just as friends. But this is a great opportunity for anyone that is looking into network and maybe just reach out to us and we'll include you on the evening. It's a great group of people in the industry, a lot of great friends, a lot of great thought leadership, and just a really good way to build your network.
Yeah, and we'd love for you to attend ETEL Canada if you can, but if not, and this event's going to be in May in Toronto. So if you're in the Toronto area and you're not going to go to the event, we have a night out for you planned that'll be pretty fun. So we'll share that on our LinkedIn when we post this.
So you have a book, I have a book. We've both talked about topics like this within our book. Let's get started with you, Johnny. What are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's a difficult time, right? We're not going to lie, and we'll concentrate a bit on Canada today, right? I mean, we're in Canada. Tara, David, we're in Canada, different parts of the country, but all in Canada, and it's a tough time in Canada. One, we lost the Olympics, men's, women's, Paralympics, so we're feeling low on that. Almost baseball. We almost had a baseball win there, but we didn't quite get it. And the tariff situation everyone knows about. There's a lot of geopolitical things that are going on in the world. There's energy crisis right now. So disposable income is at a low level, right? And my advice right now, and I've told this to people when they were employed, doing well, a nice incline trajectory of their career. You must learn, keep learning, and keep learning until it's uncomfortable. And by that, I mean, keep stretching yourself. Everyone knows where their limits are, but diversification and learning is what everyone should be doing right now, whether you're employed at a company or whether you're unemployed. And when I say employed, I mean a non-owner, maybe even C-suite, but that's my advice right now. And we can kind of get into that and get into the weeds of that. But really the learning and the diversification is more important now than it ever was.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think one of the things that you and I do, which we don't even talk about it too often, is we don't just have one job. We have multiple avenues of revenue streams, or maybe even some of them are not even that profitable, but they're just things that we can rely on to keep us in a good mood if one goes away. Like I do, obviously, Retail Rewired. We both launched books over the last couple of years. We do newsletters, podcasts, blogs. We're actively doing stuff outside of just one job. So that way, if one thing goes away, we can put more energy into one of the other things that we're doing.
I heard this term and I kind of incorporated it, career, like portfolio. And I put it as like life and career portfolio. Because you're right, we've diversified it. And even like personal stuff, like whether I'm coaching kids hockey or, leading a hockey team when I'm playing, like there's so many different avenues that I've becoming known for because I keep working at this. And yeah, it's like a diversified career and life portfolio. And it's struck with me. That word really struck with me because we often think of like portfolio as finance or investments, but it really is this, right? You would diversify your finances when you invest. And this is almost the same thing where you're diversifying your career and creating a portfolio for yourself.
It's a great point. I'd like to talk to the audience, and through you and I will go back and forth on different tips on how to deal with this moment, right? Like I remember 2012, like it was yesterday, I got let go from Walmart, and it was my identity, right? Chris is from Walmart. Everyone
Hmm.
wanted to talk to me because I was Chris from Walmart. And having to have a conversation with my wife that I was just let go that morning was tough. It was embarrassing. I felt like I wasn't going to be able to get back in the job market really quickly. But what I didn't realize is all the people that I've connected with and all the relationships that I built within hours, I was having a job offer. Now, this is not the norm, but it's the work that you put into it when you are in a good spot that comes back and pays back dividends to you later on. And because I did that, I was working the following week because even though I had a very traumatic kind of experience, my first time being let go, I was able to turn that into a real positive really quickly. But it was all the term of planting a seed. It was all of these little moments that I was doing throughout my 12-year career with Walmart that was able to carry me through really quickly. And I think if we're not doing those things, we may not be presented the same opportunities.
Yeah. The other wake up call there, right? We're talking about growing your network, and I'll get back to that. But if you are unemployed right now, don't treat this as free time, right? And don't just spend time applying to jobs, applying to hundreds and hundreds of jobs right now. You're better off working on yourself, building your network, but really working on yourself, whether that's your mindset, your skills, your self-awareness, whatever you need to do. But you should treat this time as 8, 9, 10 working hours on working for yourself. And you need a lot of self-discipline because it's very easy to potentially, go to yoga for an hour, come back home, eat lunch, go to the gym, take a walk, call Susie up or call David up or call whoever you want. And then kind of, your Friday afternoon by the time we know it. Imagine someone said, hey, work on yourself for 32 hours in a week or 37 hours in a week or 40 hours. How far we would get in that advance. And you never want to be static. You always want to be working on those things. And what I like to do is like align. I do this every year, but like align what your strengths and weaknesses are. And hopefully you know your strengths. And you would say, okay, here are my 3 to 5 strengths, and I'm going to accentuate them. I'm going to focus on these. And please use AI. We'll get to that in a second. And then weaknesses too, right? If you're weak in something, it's likely because you've always been weak in that area, right? But it doesn't mean you can't learn about it. It doesn't mean you can't improve upon it. And that's what I would say, kind of make yourself more well-rounded in this time, because what else are you going to do? If you go down this rabbit hole of, feeling sorry for yourself and feeling bad, it can only last so long before it takes over you, right? There's like a mental mindset there to be careful of. And you want to stay sharp when that opportunity does come. Worst, maybe you start something yourself, right? And maybe that's one of your weaknesses. Like, I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't like risk. Maybe those are some of the things you can work on, because when we talked about diversifying our portfolio of your career, well, here's red flag, a glowing light saying, here's your chance to start something you've always wanted to. And why not now today? It doesn't cost a lot to do it. Maybe it costs some time, but it doesn't cost a lot of money to start something up.
And I think of it as sometimes you have to think of these moments as a gift, because when you're busy managing your household and you have a mortgage and you have car payments and you have all of these things, your career may go a certain way and you take it because it offers that paycheck. And giving up that paycheck is very scary. Now that opportunity is yours, whether you wanted it to be there or not. And you can go and reinvent yourself. You can go and find what really gives you passion and heart and drive. Maybe take some breaths, reflect on where you wanted to go with your own career, because you might not be in the area you really wanted. It was paying the bills. So now I think you have that gift to really reflect on what you want to do. And the other piece that I think is, because when I've been there for 6 months unemployed, is having the ability to say no. Because so many people are going to come to you with the opportunity to do this, take on this thing. And it's a distraction. And just make sure that you're thinking, what am I going to get out of this investment of time? Yes, I'm helping a friend or a buddy, and that's cool. But if you're really wanting to focus this moment on yourself, be selective on what you're doing.
It's such a good point about the time commitment and there's a couple of things there. So if we have a question saying, how hard did I work today? Or, how important is my time, right? Some of that stuff it could be hard to answer. But if we ask, what am I doing today that increases my value and leverage? And you ask that every single day, what am I doing today that increases my value and leverage, right? So we talk about all the learning patterns that you could have. Did you increase your network, right? Like by numbers and by affluence and by, seniority, whatever that may be. What did you do? What did you do for yourself that increased your value and your leverage today? And the time one is something that I've had to work on personally, because a lot of my values and intentions were centered on time, giving my time to people, determination, hard work, effort, all these things that are amazing, but really hard to measure. And I've kind of each of those had to work on, and especially the time one, where I've created this efficiency economy in my life, where I'm super strict on time. I'm super strict on meetings. I'm super strict on who I meet with. I'm super strict on what needs to be an email versus a chat versus a text versus a phone call. And it's helped me, because at the end of it, there's something called family time and my kids, and like how important it is that I have time and energy for them at the day. And sometimes I have a lot of time. The energy sometimes is taken from me, right? From people wanting potentially. So I've done a good job of spreading that out. We all know, some people, some meetings, some employees, maybe they take less or more energy, or they give you more energy. So you kind of surround yourself with that. But time is an important one to figure out prioritization, but also time blocking. And if not, yeah, you're going to listen to everybody's opinion too, is the other thing, right? Where it's like, hey, you should take this job. Hey, you should meet this person. Hey, you should go for this interview. And it's really a cycle.
Yeah, or you end up getting some advice and you start thinking, okay, because some people have been unemployed for a long time. I know some folks that it's taken a year and a half to get back into it. And you start to develop this kind of inside your head game where it's like, if I don't take the first offer that comes to me, I can be that person. And then all of a sudden you're in a situation where you're not even happy with the job you took. So it's these things that you have to kind of sit down and put a plan together as soon as it happens, and not just be in your head, because you have 40 hours a week to be in your head, which is critical, right? Like, just treat it as if you're at work. Like you said at the beginning, dedicate it, plan it, roadmap it. It's a project now.
I had a business coach, and Colin, great guy, and I worked with him for some time. And I would always ask him to like give me exercises and templates and formats. One of the things that we worked on was a time architecture, and we realized that so I had family in there, I had coaching, both business coaching and sports coaching. I had business and career, and I also had travel and kind of like my passions and stuff. And we came up with like something that was like, without design, these will conflict. And so we had to design around that and be pinpoint in how these will affect each other if I'm not careful. And you just said it, like, without the proper planning, you will have some conflict into what's important to you.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, we wanted to make this efficient. We've got about 5 minutes left. I think some of the important pieces is the investing in yourself right now. And what I mean by that is there's plenty of events that come up, books that you should read, stuff like that. I think one of the best pieces of advice I was given was, when events like e-tail came up and you're used to a company paying for those type of things, you got to find ways to still be engaged. And even if it comes out of pocket for yourself and you don't have a company investing in you, I still think it's important for you to find ways to maybe not go to the whole event, find a way to go to a day, find a way to go to the dinners, be active, be participant in whatever world you're in, but find a way to continue to network and still invest in yourself.
Totally, 100% I agree with that. To tie it back in to that is on the AI front. There's lots of good learning that could happen there. There's lots of good design, right? It could help you with your resume. It could help you with some of your challenges. And my advice there is don't simply use it as a search engine. Really use it like when you wake up tomorrow. If you're unemployed or really unhappy in your job and thinking of leaving, when you wake up tomorrow, give it your most complex challenge. What are you trying to do? Grow your network? You need a learning pattern. You need a time architecture. You need a 2-year life plan, a 2-year career plan. You need, how do I get into this position? Here's the money I want to earn. Can you help me get there? Work with it. There's some work. There's some self-reflection you're going to have to do. But I really invite everybody, don't be scared of AI at this moment. And yes, maybe some of those jobs are responsible because of, AI taking them. And we see Amazon through robotics, Uber with self-driving cars. Like at some point in time, it's going to hit even harder. We know that. But now's your time to leverage. And, there's a really good example is lawyers. I heard a stat that their billing is down 25% from last year. And a reason is because people are turning to AI for some of these answers that lawyers would typically give. And so some of the really good lawyers are kind of turning that around. And I would say if you're a lawyer and you've maybe had your billings decrease, maybe it's time you give some of this information for free, start a podcast, start diversifying in that, become really good at prompting so you could help your clients or, get people to your own brand. Because if you're thinking of your goals and building a personal brand, let's put a number on that. Be between 2,000 and 20,000 in your network. If you can get to those numbers, if you're below 2,000, your network's probably not big enough. And over 20, kudos to you. That's great. But if you can get that, work towards that. So if you have 150, you got some work to do. That's not a big network. Think of conversion rate on a site, right? It's not that high because you have a lot of traffic and then you got to convert that. It's the same thing with your network. If you ask 10 people for help, maybe one person will give. Imagine if you ask thousands of people, what would happen?
Yeah, and I think it's your approach too. Often I find that I don't hear from people for 10 years and then now they're unemployed and now they're reaching out to me, which is fine. I want to help as many people as I can, but find a way to continue your network all the time. Stay connected, even if it's just that happy birthday message or congratulations on your next role. Those things go a long way when you do reach out to be like, okay, top of mind. I know what this person is doing. I know that they're actively engaged versus now it feels like I'm interacting with a stranger and I'm going to have to do some digging on how I can support them.
Yeah, and knowing you, right? Like, and you kind of still do support them, but you're like,
I do.
like you kind of not that you feel dirty, but you're like, this is just, I could be using my time to help the people that are supporting me all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about them supporting me, but it's like when you give a reference, you want that reference to mean something. And there's nothing worse than giving a reference to someone that you maybe know or might fail you. And you're taking a risk because the next time, if you've had 2 or 3 people fail you on that reference, how good is your credibility going forward? And that's the piece where I say stay connected, stay involved, because then it gives anyone that is working, and even I've had to reach out to friends for roles to be able to help me at least get introduced to the right people. I feel better knowing that they've been connected and I'm not just reaching out to somebody after 10 years.
Yeah, and I think that's a good call to action to people. Like, I hope they've stayed till the end and listened to this. But one, if you have a business that is potentially struggling or static or you're just not quite sure, the folks at Commerce Rewired can help. Okay. And that's kind of why we're here for. It's like, you're just not quite sure about something. And on the other end, if you like personally in your career need some advice or some help, reach out to us and we'll be there and we'll see how we can help you.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things is I just want to say to people, it's raw right now. Maybe for the last month and a half, it's feeling raw. Maybe some people are starting to feel better about their situation, but we've been there. We've all been through this and it might feel like you're in a bubble by yourself, but you're not. Make sure that you're taking time to work on your mental health. Make sure that you're not taking things personally because this is business, it's economy. It usually has nothing to do with the actual individual. And if you need someone to chat to, even just to chat to through a quick LinkedIn message, we're there. Awesome. Well, thanks, Johnny, for jumping on this important topic. I know it is a deep one. It's a heavy one, but we're in this network. We've been growing with people for 15 years now, at least. And we want to make sure we're around and people feel that they have someone to talk to.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Cool.